The Heat Ratio Sports Network. This show brings the temperature of sports to a whole new level. Whether it's a local opinion or a national agenda, everything is fair game. Remember, everyone has an opinion, but only few can back it up. Now sit back, crank up the volume, and if you think you can handle it, get ready for the Heat.
Welcome in everybody to Heat Ratio Live, episode 148. I'm your host, Tony Jigsaw Cotillo, joined by none other than Mikey Goose and my man, Coach Dave Dixon. Mr. John Coker will be back in a couple weeks, has some stuff to attend to, but this is going to be a live show. Look, I think I figured this out. I think we are live on Instagram as well for the first time. Looks like through my phone that it did work. So if you're on Instagram, let us know. Give us a follow. Give us a comment as well. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that subscription button. We are 10 away from 200. We're working up to, we're at 190 right now. So be those next 10 people and give us that subscription. But we have a ton of stuff to talk into. Fresh off a Super Bowl, Tom Brady the GOAT. Listen, there's some Phillies news. The Sixers are still rolling. There's a lot of NBA things to discuss, a lot of football things to discuss, but we have to start right off with the Carson Wentz. I get it, and the people are already going to say, oh, that's all we hear, and I am a little tired of it. I am. But again, this is what we do, and I'd love to hear your guys' response to what's going on, because in my opinion, they're screwing this whole situation up. So, Carson Wentz should be traded right now. He should be gone 100%. Okay? But what I will say is, Coach Dave, you haven't been here for a while. I know you're smart. You've been a huge, voice within the organization, say it's their fault. It starts with Jeffrey Lurie. Well, right now, it looks like everything is getting screwed up. Okay, so you tell me right now, Carson Wentz still on his team. We obviously know he will not be here, okay, because he can't come back. Right now, what are your thoughts? We missed you for the last couple of weeks. Let Coach Dave vent a little bit and let us know.
Well, I mean, I don't know. There's so many things to I do know. Carson deserves to play on a team that can contend, in my opinion. And I don't think he should be here. If I'm Carson Wentz, honestly, I wouldn't come out loud and say that I don't want to be in Philadelphia, because obviously that's bad publicity for everybody. But why would you want to be here if you're Carson Wentz, right? I know people have said both sides. Like he hasn't come out and denied or said too many things out loud. And I guess you're damned if you do, damned if you don't type of thing. It's a terrible situation. And again, the fans, we are the fans that are suffering through this, if you will. Suffering maybe too strong of a word, but it goes back to the organizational structure and how bad this whole thing is. And Carson is wrapped in the middle of it for why? Think again. The genesis of this. Why is he wrapped in the middle of this? Why is he, it's just, it's terrible. It looks awful. It looks awful to everybody. National media is having a field day with this, in my opinion, and they believe Carson Wentz should move on.
Yeah, this whole thing's a joke. It really is. Trevor, what's up? Checking in. Trevor says it's live on Grant. Doesn't look good. Yeah, I noticed that, Trevor. It's because of the screen. It shows me and Googs and Dave are cut off, but at least look at the audio, so at least we'll figure out that next week. So at least it's there. That's all I worry about. Trevor wants to know, can the Catholic Church calm Carson Wentz and retire like Napoleon Kaufman? DMG teach, that's Miss Boyd, they're staying green. They want staff return. The Goff like level now. That's not going to happen. Tar's checking in. Jigsaw, what's going on, bro? Tar's been a while, man. That's checking in. Our boy Joe checking in. My man Joe says, interested to see how Wentz is perceived on a new team as one who didn't want to compete for his old job. Listen, very, very, very interesting comment right there. And what I will say, Googs, is I don't understand how we got here. The label of this episode is the new norm is now a bad dream. You know, we heard, well, we won this Super Bowl. This is the new norm. We were all happy. Did we sell our souls for this? I don't know. But I'll tell you what, it's really hard for me to not look at this as Carson Wentz being a little spoiled little brat. I say it just like that because he hasn't come out and said anything. We've talked about this before, and this looks like this has all been fueled by Carson himself. You know, I've heard from numerous people, I'm not going to say sources, but numerous people about he was not happy when they drafted Jalen Hurts. He made comments to teammates that he wasn't happy. Why did they draft this guy? You're already doing that, and it's already in your head. That means, like I've said before, this guy's a mental midget. So why do we continue to protect Carson Wentz? Honestly, Mike, I think you feel the same way as me. Bro, if you want to go, get out. I'll drive you there. See you. Let's move on.
Well, look, I mean, we've said this how many weeks? We're always saying, you know, we continue to go over the same thing, but you touched on a lot of points there. So the first thing is, how did we get here? Well, let me roll that back a little bit and say that if you were Wentz, okay, and believe me, I'm no Wentz defender, but if you were Wentz, and they go and they have all these needs everywhere, all over the team, and they go and they spend a draft pick high on Jalen Hurts. If Carson Wentz was surprised by that, to me that would be a complete shock, because are we really supposed to believe that Peterson or Press Taylor or whoever didn't tell Wentz, listen, durability issues, we want to make sure that we have a backup? Because the problem is always going into the offseason knowing, well, what if Wentz gets hurt? What if Wentz gets hurt and we wind up getting stuck with a stiff? I mean, that was always the thing, right? It was for 3 or 4 years. That was the biggest problem, was Wentz's durability. So I have to imagine that the upper portion of the organization somehow sold Wentz on the fact that we need an insurance policy. And I know you may come back, Coach Dave, because we talked about this before, and even John talked about this before. Well, why didn't we get like a veteran like Andy Dalton? Why did you draft somebody coming out of college to be his backup? Well, I guess there's arguments on both sides of that, but I understand why he's salty. But why we should be salty as Eagles fans is because all we did for the last 3 years is put all kinds of pieces around Wentz in order to make Wentz better. I mean, from the first day that we traded for Wentz, we basically mortgaged the farm to get this guy, okay? The upper management of the Eagles organization, and when I say that, we all know that I'm talking about Mr. Bean Counter, Howie Roseman, okay? Say whatever you want, but whatever they did, they just constantly appeased to this guy. And I always felt that way. And then when I started reading in Marcus Hayes' piece today, he basically backed up everything that I was saying. So it's really good to see a journalist as bright as this guy, who's not afraid to call the Eagles out on their bullshit, having the same kind of thoughts. And I know a lot of us do. Yeah, look at this, right? Look at these two sad individuals. They look like they have absolutely no idea what's going on. But then, was that the day that they drafted Wentz? Everybody's happy.
That's the day they drafted Wentz, right there.
That's the day they drafted Wentz. So listen, they had high hopes for Wentz. And and for whatever reason, why are we here? Well, we're here for a lot of different reasons. One is because Carson Wentz, and I have to back up what you said, Tony. He's definitely a spoiled brat. It doesn't look like that he could take anything. And don't get me wrong, the guy got his head bashed in for 4 years here. He was injured. He basically injured every part of his body. But you can't blame the Eagles for not putting people around him. The Eagles did a lot. They signed a lot of people. They drafted a lot of offense. They ignored a lot of really gaping holes in order to make sure that Wentz had the protection, had the offensive firepower. So at the end of the day, when you cash a big check like that at $128 million, and then you stick the Eagles with $40 million of dead cap money, and you bitch about it the entire time, all this crap that came out about this guy over the last couple of years. How is anybody in Philadelphia defending Carson Wentz right now? I have no idea how.
I agree. I don't know how. I really don't. Trevor checking it says, can we say Carson Wentz has the deep attitude of RG3? Mike with a great comment. Mike Bell, if Wentz was a real alpha, he'd want to stay, beat out Hurts, and prove himself here.
That's my boy, Mike Bell. That's right, Mike. Exactly.
Yes. 100%.
Exactly.
I love this. Is great. I think this is awesome.
And this is exactly what we talked about. Trevor's talking about, like I say, where all your Wentz defenders at? Send smoke signals and you're all radio silent like your boy. And that's the thing. No, all of a sudden now, all the, am I cockroaches? Can we say cockroaches? I know Eskin used to say it a lot, but I love that word, cockroaches.
Yeah,
the little cockroaches on the internet. Now they're all saying, you know what? I'm willing to live with Hurts. Stop it. Go crawl back under your rock and hide back in your mom's basement, okay, where you belong. You don't belong out of the basement, okay, because that's all you do.
Go back. Stop with your tweets. Stop with your trolling, okay? Go back into your mother's closet or the basement that you're still living in, and you're 47 years old, okay? Attacking me on Twitter.
And your name is Robert Barone.
Yeah,
so stop, okay?
Just stop.
My boy X checking in. Mark John Miller, soft. Can't try making out there in the playoffs. How I won't say it, but is Hurts a threat? Mark, I think Hurts is a threat to Carson. Oh, I know what he's saying. How is Hurts a threat to you? Exactly.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Right. I get it. 100%. Completely agree, Mark. How do you let that guy, okay, coming right out of college, when you've already been paid as the franchise guy, get in your head? I don't understand it.
Highest paid player in the history of the Eagles. Highest paid player in the history of the Eagles.
I don't know.
We got to keep telling ourselves that.
I know.
I'm going to be the oddball here, believe it or not. And I don't care if I sound like a Wentz defender or not, but
apologist.
The apologist, whatever. I don't care if it's Carson Wentz or whatever quarterback you want to name. You drafted this kid number 2 overall. And Mike, I disagree with surrounding him with a bunch of quality. I think they surrounded him. They did what they thought possibly was good, but their draft picks prove that to be wrong. It's why would Wentz want to stay in this disheveled program when Howie Roseman has proven time and time again not to be able to come up with the goods. The year that they won the Super Bowl, they had a bunch of leftovers from what Chip Kelly and Andy Reid had made. And then you go with a couple of free agents that helped win the Super Bowl that apparently Joe Douglas and Howie, they both joined together and picked the right guys to make it work. And then you had a coach come in and win the Super Bowl with a backup middle linebacker, a backup left tackle, and a backup quarterback, and that guy's gone. I just don't know if it's fair to believe all the media and to believe all the stuff that's going on about Carson. And I don't know if it's fair. Like, again, I don't know if it's true or not, but if it is, then he should already have been gone. If he's a locker room cancer. So this goes back to me telling you that the program that the Eagles are running sucks. Because if he is a cancer, if he is a smidgen of a cancer, I don't care how much you're paying him. Get rid of him.
You're right, but maybe at that time they had so much invested into him, though, man.
Terrell Owens. They got rid of Terrell Owens.
Yeah, but that was a different leadership, dude. That was when Andy Reid was calling the shots. He didn't know how to deal with it.
He was a cancer, according to them.
Okay, Andy Reid's entire team is full of cancers, okay? And he keeps winning every year. He's got the worst character, worst people, the worst human beings in the world on the Kansas City Chiefs. Okay, we don't even need to go down that route. But you're right. You're right. But, Dave, let me throw this at you and tell me if you agree with this or not, Coach. And this is from Marcus Hayes. The Eagles either acquired or extended right tackle Lane Johnson, right guard Brandon Brooks, left guard Isaac Samalo, number 1 receiver Jeffrey, speed receiver Jackson Rieger, tight end Dallas Goddard, center Jason Kelsey, left tackle Andre Dillard, and running back Miles Sanders. All offensive players, regardless of whether or not Roseman couldn't pick the right. Forget all that.
Yeah, Tony brought all that stuff up, and
he's dead on. He's dead on.
He's dead on. None of them were drafted by Howie Roseman. They were all pieces that put together. So, okay, great point. Marcus Hayes, great point. 2 of those players left this year because of injury. Dillard didn't play. So you mean to tell me with those 3 guys out that we're going to hold our starting quarterback, whether it's Jalen Hurts or Carson Wentz or Ron Jaworski, whoever it is, accountable when 3 starting offensive linemen don't play the majority of the season?
So you quit? So you're paid as a leader and you give up?
He was benched. He didn't quit. He sucked. He didn't quit. They benched him. He did not quit on this team.
He was awful. I mean,
I'm not saying he wasn't, Googs. I'm not disagreeing with you. But what I'm telling you is,
when a player's bench, they should just leave the team.
No,
he should have taken it like a man and regrouped and got back into it. But the point is, he didn't want to be there. He didn't. He was done. The dude was done. He was done.
I don't know, man. I don't know if he was done or not, but
some stellar play here by Wentz. Look at this. Look at this. What? Oh, wait a minute. The wrong guy again. How many times have we seen this? Look at this.
I don't think we realize how bad he was.
He's horrible. This is a great one. I love this one. This was great. Yeah, great. Yeah, awesome.
Listen, you can go.
Stinks.
Tony, play the 2019 playoff run, the last 4 games of Carson Wentz.
Oh, this one was
great.
Show
those highlights.
This one's my favorite. This is the highlight.
Well, here, let me ask you this, because, and I'll go through because as we're watching,
what is this? This is a joke.
This is so here's the thing.
Just let it run the rest of the show.
That's being sent to Ryan Pace in Chicago. This is a highlight reel that's being sent to Jim Irsay out there in Indianapolis, saying, "Hey, we won 2 first-round picks and a 3rd." Like Matthew Stafford. That's what they're saying. And Dave, if you listen, we can go back to 2019, 2018, 2017. It doesn't matter. It's what have you done for me lately? Say what you want. This isn't Russell Wilson. This isn't Tom Brady. This guy does not have enough of a resume to hold on to with this horrific of a year. And if he was that good, people would be lining up for Carson Wentz. That's another thing. I want to throw this out there, too, to all the Twitter trolls. For a guy who's really bad, they're all fighting over him. Are they really? Because last time I checked, there was 2 teams, and out of those 2 teams, guess what? Nobody wants to hit the demands. Nobody. They want to send a 3rd-round pick and Tariq Cohen.
You know what? I would do it. I would do it. It dumps the salary, man. You know, we're all done with them. There's nothing. It's finished. I mean, regardless of whatever side, Dave makes a lot of interesting points, okay? He's taking the player's perspective, and when it looks like you got somebody as dysfunctional as Roseman putting all these subpar players around. I'm not saying that all of them were, but they at least tried. And Dave, you know I'm not going to defend Howie Roseman. He's like enemy number 1 for me.
I understand.
Right, but I think you make a lot of good points, but I think that when you want the leader money, when you want the franchise money, when you cash a check like that, you know what? It goes beyond some of these other things. You know, there's some intangibles saying that I got to stick through this. And
so let's talk about the money. Let's talk about his deal that he signed. He signed a franchise-friendly deal.
Yeah, for sure.
That was his choice and his agent's choice, not to handcuff the Eagles to a certain extent. If he was that much of a diva, he could have said it the other way. Here's my point, fellas. Listen to me. Honest here. I don't care about Carson Wentz's feelings. I want to win as many Super Bowls as this franchise can win. If we win them for the rest of my life, I would be happy with that, okay? Every year. My point to you guys is, and to everybody that's listening, I don't care if it's Carson Wentz. This organization has made fails one after the other, and it has everything to do with the top 2 guys. And until that changes, I don't care if you trade Carson Wentz for a bag of footballs or you get 1 draft pick for him. I'm telling you, the result isn't going to change until that leadership goes. So
Agreed.
What they're doing right now, to me, they're diverting the fan base and all the reporters to blame Carson Wentz.
No.
Maybe he has a little bit of a point there. They're always looking for a scapegoat, and if Roseman could take the attention off of him, he would. So, you know, Tone, we don't know what they do. We don't know if they float something into the press to say, you know, get this story to go around, or maybe change the opinion here a little, or leak stuff out that isn't true. We don't know. I mean, it's possible, but we don't know.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Carson Wentz has a mouth too. Carson Wentz has an agent as well.
Yeah, but they
So
haven't
guess
said
what? Carson Wentz is saying nothing. Either one of us right here on this show, if somebody was bad-mouthing us and killing us, we would 100% come out and defend ourselves.
But he's not saying that because his agent probably said, the fact that we're even in this situation right now is destroying your trade value. Shut your mouth so I can get you to another team, because anything that you say right now is going to look like you're a bad teammate. He told him to shut up.
Okay, but here's the thing. The agent is allowed to come out and be a spokesperson. The agent can say anything, put any kind of spin he wants. He can come out and say Carson Wentz, a positive image,
right.
Say whatever he wants. And he's not saying anything. Okay, and
what does that mean? What does that mean?
Yeah, how can you spin that one way or the other? How can you possibly spin that one way or the other?
Listen, you know this as well as I do. I need to get to some of these comments because we got tons. But let me ask you this. You're a coach, okay? And one of your players comes to you, okay, and says to you that how he's feeling, and you hear, he's your quarterback. He's the leader. You get paid big money to be in this spot. You got to put your big boy pants on, and you have to stand up in the good times and the bad times. Let's face it. Doug Peterson got fired. We heard crickets from Carson Wentz. Nick Sirianni gets hired. We heard crickets from Carson Wentz.
It's really weird.
Crickets.
It is.
It's
right?
Weird.
Nothing. I brought it up last week, and I'm going to continue to bring it up. He's quick on Instagram with his dogs and his honey, right? But seriously, and that's the issue. You have to come out and say one word. One word. I don't care. You can't worry about the way it's going to be spun. It's your job as the leader of this franchise.
You're right, and I agree with you, but I'll leave you with this before you can get to the comments, because I know we got a lot. Listen, isn't his silence just deafening? Isn't him not saying anything saying everything?
Well, yeah. It means he's orchestrating this entire thing. Yes.
That's where we are.
He doesn't want to be here.
No,
it means he doesn't want to be here.
He doesn't. And you know what? We don't want him here either. Goodbye.
I don't blame him.
Bye.
I mean, it's
you listen to me. You're missing what I'm trying to tell you is, though. I'm not defending him. His silence is, this has never happened. Ryan Clark said 3 weeks ago when I was watching TV, Ryan Clark on ESPN said, when a player wants to get something through to everybody else, to the media, exactly what Tony said. He goes to his agent says something, he produces some type of noise out on the airwaves, right? And then when Carson or the player, whoever it may be, is asked about it, he can honestly say, I never said that, because his agent is the one that said it. That's not even going on here. They're both radio silent. And it's because they don't want to be, he doesn't want to be in this organization.
Or maybe, Dave, for sure I agree with you. You're right. 100%. He does not want to be here. But I think, and again, this is just my opinion. What do I know? But I think that his agent told him, no Instagram, no social media. Let me get this deal done. Anything that you say it could be conceived as negative right now, because there's already a couple of stories going around that saying he's not a locker room guy, that he is very, divisive. We don't know if that's the case or not. We don't know. Yes, Trevor. Yes, I would absolutely say he was not a super beta. Absolutely. He's still a beta.
Our boy Joe Second says Hurts pick would be different if they didn't show commitment to Wentz and his contract. He's a nice guy, diva, that people don't want to believe it. Exactly. I completely agree. We talked about the Wentz defenders. Adam checking in says, I think Wentz is gone and Hurts is the future. I completely agree.
I would get rid of both of them, to be honest with you. Start over. I'd start over completely.
Relax.
Dude, if I'm the head coach of this team, I don't want any of these quarterbacks on my team. I'm drafting. I'm doing everything to get up to number 2, and I'll take the number 2 quarterback in the draft and start over my team there.
Al says he's right here, which is he's a Wentz defender. He says he still believes in his talent, and he believes trading him will be the biggest mistake in Eagles history. I respect that. It's one of the questions on our agenda tonight. Well, could this be one of the biggest mistakes that the Eagles could ever make?
It's certainly possible.
It has to be made. It just has to. Brian checking in. It's simple. Wentz does not have the mental makeup or personality to play in Philly. It was a concern when he was drafted, and it's become a real problem for many reasons. He's soft, especially mentally. Can't take competition. Can't take criticism. Can't take hard coaching. Can't take fans ripping him. He's not built for it. He's just not. You're
Hard
right.
Pump Kool-Aid.
Right.
Do the
You're
hard.
absolutely right.
That's it.
Joe, he's on fire tonight. Hurts pick proved to be the right decision. I love this. If he can't play with a rookie behind him, how would he compete with the pressure in the postseason?
That's well said.
I love it. I love it because here's the other spin, and we'll get to these the next set of comments in a couple minutes. But what if in all this crazy world, it's 2021, we're still in a pandemic, we're talking about different COVID strains, right? We have no idea when we're going to be able to see a game again. What if Howie Roseman is the evil genius? What if he does get the haul for Carson Wentz? What if Jalen Hurts does work out? And all of a sudden, instead of a 5-year rebuild, it only takes us a couple. Then all of a sudden, we're singing the praises of Howie Roseman. Now, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but what I'm saying is you guys remember when they drafted Jalen Hurts, we all talked about it on this show, that somebody wasn't sold on Carson Wentz because they drafted him. They would have never drafted Jalen Hurts if they were all sold on Carson Wentz. So maybe that guy all along was Howie. I don't know.
Well, who else would it be? I don't think it's Lurie.
Well, Tony thought it was Peterson the whole time, right, Tony?
Oh, you thought it was Peterson. Oh, okay, yeah.
I thought it was Peterson. And that's the thing. I mean, you think about it. If, with the amount of money that they have to eat, if they somehow can work the money out, get a couple picks back in return, and a player that can be productive, a younger player at that, and Jalen Hurts works out, this is like what Ruben Amaro tried to do with Cliff Lee.
Yeah, that's right. That's a good analogy. Very good analogy.
It's crazy.
Listen,
unbelievable.
God, I will apologize every day to Howie. I hope you are 100% correct on that fantasy trip.
I will not.
Oh,
sorry, Coach. No way.
We're going to bury Howie.
I'm hoping. We all hope that that's the right thing. But again, I don't care if it's Carson Wentz or not. I don't care if you guys think he can play here or not. I really don't give a shit. The problem is the hierarchy and where our leadership has been. There's so many rumors about Jeffrey Lurie wanted J.J. Arcega-Whiteside because it was his son's roommate in Stanford or classmate or whatever it was. I mean, there's so many goofy things going on in this organization that we are far behind. And that's why I say something as crazy as I would get rid of both quarterbacks with a new coach, and I would start over with a clean slate. Here we go.
I'm going to take it. I'm going to say, Dave, sorry about that. I'm going to say that if you ask me, because you already said something weird is going on. You've been saying that now for almost, the last year. You always said that something wasn't right. So I think you're on the right path. And if I had to guess, here's what I think may be happening. Okay, but who knows? We can float these theories around. We all look at when Howie Roseman makes these catastrophic draft picks, and we're all like, well, why is he still in the position that he's in? Now, the guy, say whatever you want. He's a general manager. He did win the Super Bowl 3 years ago. Say whatever you want. Nobody can take that away from Howie Roseman, okay? He won the Super Bowl. He was the GM. I don't care about Joe Douglas. Don't give me any of that stuff. He was the GM. They won the Super Bowl. Lightning in the bottle, whatever it was, he still won the Super Bowl, okay? But if this guy continues to make these crazy draft picks and these stupid things and put the Eagles in, and again, nothing happens to him, and Lurie constantly backs him, tells me that it's possible that Lurie did exactly what you said. Yeah, exactly. Maybe he's got his hands in the cookie jar. Maybe it's his $1 billion little toy. Maybe Lurie's the one making these crazy calls, and he knows that Roseman's always going to take the blame, and he doesn't care, and neither does Roseman. Because it has to be that kind of a relationship.
Something's got to be going on.
Something. Well.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Something.
Joe says, and I know he's talking about Carson here, you hold him accountable when you hold the ball for 4+ seconds and continue to make excuses for sacks and turnovers, right? Al checking in says, by the way, what did they surround him with? D-Jack played 4 games with Wentz. Jeffrey played about 7 games. And no, 0 young wide receivers. The only person he could ever count on is Ertz. I absolutely, Al, 100% disagree. They did everything to surround him with talent. It's just exactly what Goog said earlier, and I said before as well. It's not his fault it didn't work out. They did get him the pieces. They just were maybe the wrong pieces. They did draft Dallas Goedert. They did sign Zach Ertz. They did sign Brandon Brooks. They did sign Lane Johnson. Okay, they did bring in Djax because they wanted a threat. Right?
So wait. They did something. They did, but they didn't work out. But Carson gets the quarterback. Stop saying Carson. The quarterback still gets held accountable for shit that they didn't hit on. Yes. How does that make sense?
Why? Because he's the highest paid player on the team.
That wasn't his fault. That wasn't his fault they paid him that money.
Whoa. Hold on. We say whatever you want, Dave. So guess what? So when you're the manager of a baseball team, okay, and the general manager picks all your players and you don't win, who gets canned? Your ass is canned. You know why? Whether they didn't work or not, it's your job to make them work, right?
Who, the general manager?
No, you as the coach.
Yeah.
Yes.
So the coach on the field is the quarterback. So you somehow, some way, we talked about Carson Wentz last year taking a team that had their best receiver. It was Greg Ward, okay, who basically came out of Gennardi's and put a uniform on, right? You're talking about, everybody praised Carson Wentz. Oh, my God, look what Carson did with nobody. Look what he did. He's amazing. But now we want to say, oh, poor Carson. He didn't have enough pieces. What is it? You can't be on both sides here. You got.
What's the truth?
A lot of people made excuses for McNabb. Well, McNabb was surrounded by all those. We've gone over that before. How many times James Trash and Charles Johnson, all those other scrubs, and he always. I'm not trying to compare Wentz to Carson. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to compare McNabb to Carson Wentz. But that wasn't really the point is that, if you're going to be a franchise player, get it done. You find ways to get it done. You find ways to, and you certainly don't come out and just blame people. You certainly don't come out and cause problems. I mean, you just don't do that. He took the check. He took the money. There are different rules for franchise players, and he failed miserably.
Look at that, Mike. You brought up McNabb. Most playoff wins against NFC teams, 9. Donovan McNabb. Where's he rank on that list? Number 5.
Is he the only non-Hall of Famer on that list?
Brett Favre, number 1. Aaron Rodgers, Joe Montana, Roger Staubach, Tom Brady, Drew Brees, Russell Wilson, Troy Aikman.
Yes, Googs, you're right.
Oh, my goodness. And you know what? It's funny because I just had this conversation with my son, and I said, is Donovan McNabb a Hall of Famer? And he decided to destroy me for 15 minutes, saying that I'm crazy and are you nuts? And
I think he's a Hall of Famer.
When you look at his numbers, it's close.
But what you said though, Mike, what he did with nothing,
0.
Nothing. And again,
I was tough on McNabb.
What kills me is if we're talking about if this is Ben Simmons saying I want out, we're killing him. We're
destroying
Ben
Simmons.
Him.
Yeah.
But now look at how we've done it. What I just want to know, what has Carson done that's been so great to us?
He's got a pass.
For me, it's not what Carson has done or hasn't done. It's what the organization has done, Tony. And I've been consistent with that the whole time.
No,
you have, but don't you think the organization has always been dysfunctional? When have they not?
So, all right. So they had all their shit together that year. And whatever you said, Googs, I totally agree with you. It was lightning in a bottle. Yeah. Everything seemed to fall in place. And Tony put the script together for today's show saying that after 2017, we've slowly been on decline.
Yeah.
From that point. So that one fantastic year, they nail on the head. LeGarrette Blount, they had Howie Long's son there. He came into play. How about the D-back they got from the Saints that came in? What was his name? He played phenomenal. Not Malcolm Jenkins, the other kid that caught the interception in Minnesota. What? Oh my gosh, I forget his name. I forget.
What's that D-back's name that caught that interception against? I can't think of his name either.
No.
No.
Xavier Rhodes? What are we talking about?
No, that was the 2017 season. He caught an interception against. For us, yeah.
Patrick Robinson.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. That's another free agent that we forgot about. That was a big key to their success.
Sure. But I mean, it's not that. I mean, I just feel that. Look, let me roll back to what I said earlier. Maybe that, and again, let's talk about the year that they hired Peterson. Let's talk about that year, and then we destroyed the Eagles, and we were laughing at Peterson. Everybody was laughing at him. The Eagles were the biggest joke. Remember that GM from Carolina destroyed Peterson. Nobody wanted him. He's a joke. Remember, he took a lot of heat, right? But maybe he was just an extension of Roseman. Maybe he was a Roseman-like type of, hey, do what I say, just be a yes man. And when Roseman tried that with Chip Kelly, that just didn't work out, and Kelly bolted, and that was a complete mess. And maybe that's why now we have this Sirianni guy that nobody saw coming, because maybe it's just Roseman maybe it's Lurie controlling the team through a proxy like Roseman with a yes guy. That's what that's where I am at this point.
I agree 100%. Another puppet. I said on this show before I left for
the show, like a Howie Roseman puppet on the string.
Yeah. Before I took my little vacation, and I said that they will pick a first-year coach.
You're right.
That will be a puppet. He's going to be a puppet.
Oh, he looks like a puppet, all right.
The ventriloquist of the NFL, Howie Roseman.
So Mike Jackson says this year, let's get calls and cons. We've got about 50 of them. This year, the injuries and poor play by much of the offense were an issue, but you're going to have adversity in your career. You can't wait to quit and trade the first time that happens. 100%. Yep. Right?
Yeah, for sure.
Adam, what's up, Adam? Checking in. Wentz is hurt too much, so he got his head that he was worried about getting hurt every play. I don't disagree there. He did play differently. He did play a little softer than usual. Trevor says, shall we all set up a march to NovaCare Center to get Howie Rosen out of power? Why not?
You should.
Trevor, I love that.
Dan says, minor team friendly when guys signed after him. Yes, we talk about the contract. Carson Wentz worth $12 Bitcoin currently. Oh my God, this is bad.
Would you trade 3 Bitcoin for Carson Wentz? Maybe.
Everybody knows he had an awful season. He wasn't the first, and it won't be the last. Tony, what kind of season did your boy have last season? What kind of season did he have this season? Point me. And for everybody listening, I love Al, man. He knows my boy is Baker Mayfield. And, we always call, listen, I say my boy Baker, Al knows that my boy, and he makes a good point because Baker did have a bad season, right? But they brought in an established coach, and they completely revamped the entire team, and they orchestrated the offense around a guy. But here's what I will say. There wasn't question marks about Baker's mental ability coming out of school. The problem with Baker Mayfield was always physical. Carson Wentz, we undoubtedly know he has the tools to do what he needs to do. But mentally, he is a midget. I was said 100% the reason why I would draft Baker Mayfield is because of the intangibles. He's a leader. He knows how to get it done. He knows how to pump up players. He knows how to be the leader in the locker room. Something obviously Carson cannot do. So I don't care what kind of players you get. If Carson can be this mentally one-sided, he's going to have an issue no matter what.
This is Carson Wentz, who what kind of mental makeup do you need to throw a touchdown pass after you tore an ACL?
What kind of mental moxie do you need to come back from an ACL?
A lot.
Right. And play well.
Well,
Ask Carson Palmer because he did it twice, right? So, right. So we listen, all that stuff before the injury is irregardless now. It's what have you done for me lately? How can you react based after the injury? You can't have a preconceived notion about what the guy did before as to what he's doing now after an injury, because everybody's going to lose something for the most part. Right? I mean, we can't expect Lane Johnson basically has a shattered ankle. To expect him to be the same player that he was, I mean, I hope he is, but he's going to lose something, right?
Yeah, the year, not last year, but the year before that, Carson recovering from an ACL injury helped this team move into the playoffs, right?
What's that?
He got them to the playoffs the year
I'm not disagreeing.
After an ACL injury.
Right, but he need more help.
Yes, he definitely needs more help.
But he got into the playoffs.
He did.
Okay, well,
and you're comparing Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield has
no ways, Dave.
Baker Mayfield. Yeah, I can. Sure, he can. Baker Mayfield has two phenomenal running backs, right? and he has a wide receiver that could potentially be an All-Pro.
And guess
Jarvis
what?
Landry.
Guess what?
And he has a solid tight end.
Baker Mayfield almost single-handedly won that game against Kansas City. You know why? Because of this right here. That's why. Carson Wentz would have got sacked 12 times.
Okay, well, woulda, coulda, shoulda. I mean, we don't know that for sure, but
we do.
You do.
Mike Belichick said again, he says, don't agree with the point about the press. They're very likely putting this info out there, but Wentz has a mouthpiece in Rob Maaddi. Oh, I like Rob. I like Rob. I respect his work. I like what he does. So I'm not going to bash Rob. He's the one guy who actually, I will say this, Mike, if you listen to press conferences, not many people ask the questions that Rob Maaddi asks. You can say what you want, but he does. Whether he gets away with it because they're church friends or not, I don't know, but he is asking the question that nobody else answers. Dan, Tony, you're overplaying his silence. It means nothing. I agree with Mikey. I'm not overplaying, Dan.
Go looking out, Dan. Go looking out. Real quick, Tone. Wentz scored 40.
Do me a favor. Listen to the Gambler and listen to the Final Judgment and listen to my and you'll hear I said that the silence means that he wants out of here. Come on, Dan. You're killing me.
The silence is deafening.
Deafening. Victoria, what's up? Tori checking in. We don't want him here. Speak for yourself. He's not speaking because Jeff and Howie did him dirty.
We do want him here. She said, do.
Yeah, that's what she said. Yeah. Tori wants him here. And listen, again, that's fine. I don't want him here now because even before Jeff and Howie did him dirty, he didn't come out and say anything. How about you coming out for your coach? When have you ever seen a Super Bowl winning coach get fired?
He's pissed at him.
Right.
Yeah, because he didn't have anything to do with the Super Bowl because there's a statue of Nick Foles outside. We know we've been through this. He's pissed. You know that they don't get that first round bye unless Wentz plays out of his mind like that. And listen, we all know what he did. I don't want to forget what he did. Well, Foles doesn't win. We don't win the Super Bowl without the first round bye. I'm sorry, we don't. And the only reason why we got the first round bye is Wentz played his ass off. Real quick, let me just make this point real fast before I forget. Did you know that Wentz scored a 40 out of 50 on that Wonderlic test? I didn't even know that they still use that, but apparently they do.
That's
and they use it. Yeah, he scored really high. Goff apparently had a high score too, and he was only 36 out of 50. Wentz was 40 out of 50. So I know where it was like, oh, the guy can't read a defense. He's mentally nuts. He's stupid. I don't think he's stupid. I just think the pressure of Philadelphia really came. This isn't Fargo, buddy. This isn't Bismarck. This isn't North Dakota.
It is true.
Dakota.
It is true, but here's the thing, Mike, and this is what you just said. It rings a bell because it's going to piggyback on what Al's saying right here. He says, in my opinion, the biggest thing we do in Philly is assume. What does assuming do? Carson doesn't owe us anything. I disagree. Carson owes us everything in the sense that he decided to take on this role. Okay, Carson Wentz, his role is to stand up there and take questions, not dodge them. Okay, so he does owe us that. Okay, so you always owe us that. I hate when, listen, if you went out there and you gave it 100%, then fine. AI didn't owe us nothing. Okay, Allen Iverson put it all out there, and I'm not saying Carson Wentz didn't, but what I am saying, bringing us back to what Mike mentioned about, with assumptions. Here's what I will say, or Al, Brian Westbrook, I think we would all pretty much say is a well-respected guy. Sure. Okay, he's the one who came out and said he can't read the defense. Okay, I listened to him on multiple occasions say this guy. So again, so let's not say we're assuming anything. We're taking what credible people are saying. Not all of them. Okay, not all of them, but
certainly not me.
Knows more than I do. Okay, so yeah, I'm listening to B West. Okay.
Do you think if Brian Westbrook and Carson Wentz were in front of each other, and Brian Westbrook said to Carson, "You can't read a defense," how do you think that would go? I mean, like, really, you don't think I can read a defense? That doesn't even make sense to me. Honestly, it doesn't. I don't. There's no way that Carson, who got a 40 out of a 50 in a Wonderlic test, he's been in the NFL for 5 years, and doesn't know how to read a defense. He had a shit year, fellas. His whole team had a shit year. The organization had a shit year. I don't understand. Let me ask you this, Tony. What do you, if Carson were to change your mind tomorrow, what would he have to do to change your mind and get on a better side of, let's just say, you and Googs? Like, what would you want him to do or say?
Go on Twitter and send an endorsement for the new coach.
Thank you.
I mean, the first thing you do, but it's already too late. He didn't even do it. So if he does it now, it just looks like he was told to do it, or they're trying to spin something. He didn't do it.
I'm ready to work.
Yeah, ready to exactly. What hurts, Tone? Exactly, ready to work. Let's go. Let's get it. Let's get some.
Anything.
He doesn't want to be here.
He don't want to be here, man.
Yeah, but you know what? Yo, guess what? How about this? Let's throw this scenario out, right? Yeah, look at that. Victoria says Jeff is for sure Howie's puppet master. Obviously, Super Bowl gave him an ego, and now he's like the Mad King. Excellent, definitely true. The Mad King. But think about this: what if, Tone? What if nobody takes him? What happens then?
You're stuck with him. Then there's a quarterback. There's a quarterback.
It's not controversy. We're stuck with the guy that doesn't want to be here.
Well, that's the problem.
Competition. It's a quarterback competition.
There can't be. The quarterback competition's over, man. It's over. That quarterback competition was over in week 12. It was over. Say what you want. When week 12 happened and Carson did not come back in week 13 as the starter with another chance, it was over. It was done. This is where it was headed.
This is, in my opinion.
Told you guys that too, by the way.
You did say that.
You did.
Listen, don't pat yourself on the back. That's our job to compliment you.
Yeah, that's right, Coach. That's right. You did a great job, Tony.
So
good luck. Good luck calling that out.
I would love to see this make it play out, though, because you have a new coach, a new system. You bring in some new players, whatever. Everybody gets healthy. You want to see who the true better quarterback is. Then that would be the ultimate way to figure out and win the game that way. What's this?
I love my boy Albert Dixon. Why did they give Carson that extension after he proved nothing in big games? And if a hot dog wrapper flies out of the stand, he's hurt.
That is the best comment of the night. Excellent, Al. Excellent.
My biggest brother. He's always witty for
that is.
I don't even know what to say.
That is fantastic. A hot dog wrapper.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Jamar says timing was messed up with Carson had weapons while he was hurt, wasting Ertz's best year, and all the young wide receivers aren't young anymore.
That's for sure.
Yeah, 100%. Andre says Carson is now known as the quarterback formerly known as.
Wow, just a symbol, right, Andre? We're just going to put a symbol.
Prince.
What's his symbol? What's his symbol going to be?
Yeah, an arrow pointing down or thumbs down. Exactly. That's Wentz now. From now on, we shouldn't even say his name. Those we don't speak of.
CW. Tori says, yeah, and how did they repay Carson for making Walmart employees work on the field? They draft a goddamn quarterback. Well, Tori, here's the thing. Whether we like the pick or not, it's actually looking like there's a reason why they drafted Jalen Hurts, because they weren't sold on Carson Wentz. Listen, I'm not saying I was. I'm not saying I was. We don't know. Something besides what we're talking about happened. Something. Come out later, right? We all know something happened.
But how do you disagree with what she's saying? I mean, if you're supposed to be the franchise and you go, like we already said, you go draft somebody high, something is definitely wrong. But if you let's try to be empathetic a little bit, because we've been destroying Wentz. Let's just pretend that you're Carson Wentz. If they did not sell this to him, that they were going to draft a guy like Jalen Hurts that high, that's an ultimate slap in the face to Wentz. And then maybe at that point he was just done, and he just said, "Listen," and maybe his agents is telling him, "Look, I'm going to get you there. Just let me make my magic. I'm done with people." Who knows, bro? That's probably what happened.
And why would you sign the backup quarterback that they did for the money they did if they were in search of a backup quarterback?
I would love to know the answer to these questions, and we never will. Look at they did him dirty.
We're never. Listen, and it just. Listen, I am not a guy who I do not want Carson Wentz to fail, man. I said it. I tweeted it out 3 days ago. I feel he's going to be successful. It's just not going to be here. Okay, I'm just being honest. It's not going to be here. Is he going to be Tom Brady? No, he's not. Is he going to be Drew Brees? No, he's not. And I think right now that he's broken very badly. Broken beyond almost repair. because we've seen this before. Now, if he could get to somebody, is it a coincidence that Dave DiFilippo got promoted to quarterbacks coach on the Bears? All of a sudden, that's his boy. Frank Reich in Indianapolis. I know the two teams. I don't know, but one thing is for certain. You could say whatever we want, but Jalen Hurts emulates the new style of quarterback in the NFL. And we could say, we've said it on this show multiple times. So they have to be looking at that. They have to be looking at that. And again, Jalen Hurts hides your deficiencies. Yes. Did he regress, after his whole 4 games? Of course. What did you expect? But what he did show you was the flashes, the energy, the excitement. Listen, boys, we felt the same way when McNabb came in for Washington. Say what we want, but when McNabb came in his rookie year in Washington, we were ecstatic. And I get it was because it was Doug Peterson who was a stiff at quarterback. But, at least we were happy. And I wish nothing but Carson the best. But unfortunately, guess what?
He ain't Philly. He ain't built for Philly. His hard pumps Kool-Aid. Bye. Next. That's it.
If
done.
Carson was a quarterback in the Super Bowl, Brady would have 8 rings. Albert is killing Carson, man.
Wow.
Killing Carson.
Every time
I'll give it to my big brother. He was one of the guys that said, and Tony, you're not going to like this. He said, but when they got rid of Foles, he's like, I'd get rid of Carson. I'd keep Foles. So to give Albert credit, he was never on board with Carson.
A lot of people said that, and we know Foles. Everybody said Foles was trash. He went to other teams. He couldn't do anything. He wasn't a starter. He's a guy that had to come in off the bench. Great, but he had something here, and maybe that came down from up top. We have no idea after they won the Super Bowl. Do you think Doug wanted to part with the quarterback that won him the Super Bowl? Probably not. There was probably something there too.
Wait,
anyway, we'll never know.
They said you could take the Wonderling test online.
Yeah, I heard it's not easy.
We should take it for the show.
Yeah, I'd get like a 3 on it. I'm sure. Here I'm sitting there, Carson Cannon. Yeah, I'm sure.
I would sure get to write your name.
What's that? What do you get, Dave?
I said, how many points do you get for writing your name?
Yeah, you get 1 point. You get one Wonderlic point. Yep.
I'm there with that. I got that point.
Andre says Carson is definitely going somewhere. The hunting is elite. He's a rural guy. Philly is too grimy for Carson. The pressure killed him grimy like Noriega. I love it.
Exactly.
Andre says, I asked a few people, did they know who the new coach is for the Eagles? And they didn't know.
Of course, nobody. I don't even know who he is. Nobody does.
Oh, man.
That's exactly who he is, Googs. He's a nobody.
Hey, man, maybe he'll have a great year. I mean, who could you imagine having to work for that organization? Jeez, that guy's got his work cut out for him, man. I can't wait for that. That first press conference was absolutely I can't even watch it without seriously getting upset. Like
he's going to get destroyed.
No, did you see that first press conference tonight? Everybody, I know he was nervous. Fine, I know he's nervous, but dude, this is Philly. I mean, this is Philly. You want to go. You want to have that kind of coach and that profile. Go to Jacksonville. Listen,
Mike. To add to what you're saying, they told us that Todd Bowles on a Zoom chat did not interview well, but this guy did. Are you? This is the organization that is going to take us to the next level.
Yeah. Meanwhile, they shut down Mahomes. Yeah, but he didn't. But he was terrible on Zoom. But he shuts down Mahomes in the Super Bowl.
Shut down Breeze. Shut down Rodgers. Shut down Mahomes. That's pretty good.
He didn't sniff an interview.
Andy Retreat.
No, he had a Zoom meeting with us, Tony.
Yeah, but again, okay, but with who else? He wasn't even in contention.
Yeah, but why though? Yeah, but why? Why is that?
I don't know.
He got
a raw deal. He got a raw deal in New York. The Jets stunk. Their ownership was terrible. He did the best he could. Of
course, he did.
Good coach, man.
Yeah, man.
Here's a guy. Here's a guy that's played in the league, right? He's got many accolades now as a coach. He's been around as a head coach. You don't give him another chance. This would be a perfect scenario for him to walk into and hire you could have hired that kid Sirianni or whatever his name is to be your offensive coordinator. Let Todd Bowles lead the ship. Get the men in the locker room to play like men. Like he proved that he can get a defense to play. That number 45, that linebacker, does everybody love him now or is it just me? The kid that played for Tampa.
Oh, Devin White.
Oh my God, he played for LSU. What? Well, go figure. Let me draft a guy from LSU to play middle linebacker. He runs a 4.4. I mean,
He's a beast. He's an animal. And most people are just, listen, I know it's Brady, won another Super Bowl. I get it. Everybody talks about the
That
offense.
defense
I don't think
won.
anybody's talking about that defense. It was crazy all year. And this guy was in the middle. I don't know much about Bulls, but I do know that he did get a roll. Anybody that goes to the Jets gets a roll deal anyway. We know that. That's
Except Adam Gase.
Yeah, that's a paycheck.
Yeah,
that's a paycheck stop, you know.
Brian got a good point. He says, here's something you hear about in NHL, but not too much in NFL. Why was there never a sports psychologist paired with Wentz when he came to Philly or after the Super Bowl year and injury? Teams are investing so much money in these players. That's a great point.
But how do we know they're not?
I don't know.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Good point, Mike.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they do, but if they didn't, it's a really good point because it's something that should have been done.
After ACL injuries, they do give you a psychologist normally because it takes a lot to get over that thing mentally as much as physically. So you might be onto something they did, and we don't just know about it.
That's possible, but what Al says, it's true. Al, we absolutely know that is going to happen because that's exactly what happens in Philadelphia, and I'm not going to feel good.
But right now you're not coming back from this. Okay, you're just not coming back from it.
I'm with Al. I said it earlier. Al, I agree with you. I think the media and I think the Eagles have spun this a certain way to attack Carson, and that's the way they want it.
Spadero served as a psychologist due to budget.
We've had budget cuts. We are going to put in Dave, the corporate mouthpiece, Spadero. Oh God!
Could you imagine?
That's a good one, Mike. I love that.
That was a great.
Trevor says Carson Wentz is that dude that declines a therapist. No, I'm good.
Yeah, we're good.
Andre says, I'm going on the streets for Heat Ratio Sports. I need a Heat Ratio microphone and ask the fans these questions. It would be straight comedy. I'm sure it would.
Yeah, the first question, Andre, is I'll walk up to somebody. It says, do you know who Nick Sirianni is?
Right. And the backup question is, I guarantee you, when more people know who Heat Ratio Sports are, it's before Nick Sirianni. Just
That's
say.
For sure.
I hate to say that, but it's the truth.
Yeah, he sounds like a captain in the Gambinos. I mean,
we had about 15 minutes left.
That's who Sirianni is. He's the guy you kick the money to upstairs.
Oh my God!
Oh my God, that's great. Let's swing course here because unfortunately, we went 56 minutes, but again, just on Carson Wentz and the Eagles because it's legit, man. It's what's happening.
Yeah, it's worth it.
It is, but let's talk real fast. We don't really need to recap the Super Bowl. Tom Brady gets his ring, number 7, cement legacy. It is what it is. 31-9, not what I expected. Todd Bowles was masterful. The defensive team was masterful. Dave, you had a good point about. We could touch on that real fast. Obviously, we see what happened with Andy Reid's son with the DUIs, and people are in. It's an awful situation. He already lost one son to a drug overdose, but the people want to bash his kid and the way he's a father is absolutely ridiculous.
It's disgusting, is what it is. It's disgusting.
It is. It makes you. It's what makes you hate social media. Social media can be great. It can be very rewarding. It can be very resourceful. But at times when you see things like that, it's like, man, bro, there's a line, man. Yeah. Like you got to understand. And that's where what we said, boys, earlier, that's the kids in their mom's basement instead of the grown men. Okay. Yeah. That's the little girls playing with dolls and instead of being real hairdressers.
It's a sick comment to make when you say things like that. It's very, very, very disturbing. Very disturbing.
I'm really bothered by all that stuff. Passionately against anybody that said that Andy Reid is not a good father because of things like this. I think they're low-life scumbags, in my opinion. And for somebody to attack a guy for just loving his kids as much as he could and giving them opportunities that he didn't have and trying to help them through some struggles and the things that he has done, putting them in positions to be successful, and the grown men that they were made bad decisions, and he's going to be faulted for that. You're not a father if you say that he's not a good father. That's my opinion. That's I know that we're a sports program and all this other stuff, but that's my rant about that. I think that anybody that said that is a low-life scumbag.
David, tell us how you really feel about the rest.
You got it, Mikey.
Real quick, a last point on that. If you obviously a lot of people that watch the show, and also we all have children, and obviously it's a horrendous situation to be in. Okay, and hopefully the little girl that was injured and their family, and hope everything works out okay. And, nobody winds up dying. It's just a bad situation. But again, they're men, like Dave said, like everybody said. You can't control what your kids do, and for people that attack the guy. Look, I'm no Andy Reid fan. Okay, I can't stand the guy. I suffered with him. I didn't like anything about him being a coach. I just that's a football opinion, but as a man to man opinion, you can't control what happens. It's just people that are jealous that like to say, "Oh, Andy, I hope your football career was worth it." You can't even. They're just jealous people, and that's all it is. And for them to make comments like that really shows you the kind of people that you're dealing with. So I'm sure he's immune to this kind of stuff. It's horrible, and hopefully everything works out for both sides of the family. It's just a terrible, terrible situation.
It is. Yeah. Well said, man. Well said. You're really nothing more to say. Just prayers up, and hopefully we best outcome as possible.
Yes.
And how about last thing I will say? How about and I'm not making excuses, but how about let's just try to get this kid some help instead of just burying his father and burying him. Let's try to get the kid some freaking help first instead of just wanting to kill people over their mistakes. And again, listen, I'm not going to get into it's a bit. I get it. I understand 100%. But who are we to judge? So I'm going to say none of us are perfect. So let's do this. We are going to give a little trivia question here because we had 2 trivia questions last week. We're going to segue. We have 15 minutes left. Sticking this hour and 15, we've been doing really good. Things are picking up. I got a good trivia question. It's a baseball trivia question. While we talk a little basketball here, I'll let everybody think about it. And don't Google it, man.
No one Google it.
Google it, okay? See what you can get your guess in. Now, this baseball trivia, okay? As the end of the 2016 season, who was the last pitcher to pitch a perfect game? So think about that in your head. And again, I told everybody, we're going to start doing some giveaways. So this is the creation of that. So we have gift cards, jerseys, things of that nature. You follow the show, subscribe to the show. We'll give away the trivia question and some other things. I can't just do the trivia question because I know some of you are going to be scumbags and Google it. Sorry, but it's the truth. But now,
that's to our loyal listeners.
Yeah. Well, for the people who aren't scumbags, I'm gonna guess this question. As of 2016, who was the last pitcher to pitch a perfect game? So a lot of good. It could be a ton of good answers here. Everybody getting in. Well said, Dave. He wants a it's ridiculous. Bravo. Al says sports are sports. Life is what's really important. Absolutely. Whiskey Mike, new segment. What's in the Yeti?
I like that.
Come on, Tony. Do the full 90. I can't, man. We're checking 115. Plus, we got a late night Sixers game, man. Got a late night Sixers game. Trevor checking in says Jake Arrieta. No, not Jake Arrieta. Dan Green second in Mad Max. It's not Max Scherzer. Mike Bell with a really good one, but that's not it. It's Robin Roberts. It's going way back.
Is that 1952 Robin Roberts?
Wow.
I got one, Tony. I got a guess.
Go ahead, Dave. What you got?
Is it Burley?
It is not Mark Burley. It's a good guess, though. That's a good guess. Really, really good guess. Albert checks in, says Roy Halladay. No, it is not. My buddy Rick says, well, no, I'm not answering because you will think I am a scumbag.
we're all scumbags, Rick.
Yeah. It's just a level of scum. That's all. Adam says Clayton Kershaw.
That's
no. Dan Green, Dr. Burley, no. So while we're thinking of that question, I'll let you guys know. We're going to stream into a little basketball talk here. And listen, for the Sixers, we know what's going on with the Sixers. They're having a really good year. I don't want to get into any Ben negativity talk right now, and any of that, because let's just ride the wave. We got about 5, 6, 7 minutes left on the show. I don't want to kill. All I know is, they're going to be making some moves with some bench pieces. They're getting a rotation set. And the one thing is nice that we're getting to actually see a nice product on the floor. Do I think it's championship style yet? No. They have a long way to go, but at least it's in a positive direction, and there's no more Brett Brown. So let me say this based on basketball, and this will get the conversation going for the next 5 minutes. And I watched the other night Steph Curry go one-on-one against Luka Doncic, back and forth. And Steph Curry again. Scored. He had 70 plus fantasy points. He scored 50 points in the game. The guy was just masterful. It's like poetry in motion coming off his palm. It really is. And what I want to ask you guys is, it's a two-part question here. Steph Curry as the greatest shooter ever to play the game, and I say that in and I know this will get the people talking, because a lot of people, there's not names we can mention out there as far as Reggie Miller and Larry Bird, and we could go way back and talk about all the names, but what Steph Curry is doing is something that I don't think can be duplicated. And this part two of that question is this the best of the best? Are we in an era of the NBA that we will never see again? And what I mean by that is, you have LeBron at 35 years old, just completely balling out. You have guys like Damian Lillard and Steph Curry that are just hitting that 30-year-old plateau. Steph is actually 30, right? 30 plus. And so you're seeing a group of supreme talent. And what happened in the draft this year, and I know you have guys like, you see what LaMelo Ball's doing, which is pretty impressive. But I just don't think we're ever going to see the amount of talent, in like a 15 to 20 year period, that we would be able to see in the future. I just don't think it's going to be like that. I physically think like this is, there's going to be good players and great players, but not all stacked up like this. It's just right now for me, I love watching the NBA. And when you get to watch guys like Damian Lillard and Steph Curry just continue to knock down shots time after time, people in their face, it's just unheard of. And they just hit nothing but cotton. So, Dave, best shooter of all time, Steph Curry. Can we say right now best shooter of all time, or does he have to go on any longer?
No, I think I can say I've watched a lot of basketball in my time, and Steph Curry. First of all, Steph Curry's a different type of shooter. Reggie was close to him. Reggie Miller was a close second to him with his ability to create his own shots and move his feet to get his shot. Larry Bird was more of a set shot type of guy. I love Larry Bird. Those two players, Ray Allen bring to mind as a type of shooter. But what Steph Curry is able to do, move his feet and get open shots and drain the three ball the way he does in an era where the three ball is the only shot they take, he's the best at it. Now, the next in line, like I said, you mentioned Ray Allen or Reggie Miller. I mentioned Ray Allen and Larry Bird. Harden is creeping up there as well, but Steph Curry is phenomenal. I think he is the best pure shooter that we have ever seen in basketball ever. That's just my opinion.
Andre says Steph, yes. And he also says, good comment to 1B. The league is going to evolve again to a different style in 5 to 10 years, and we are going to see more 120 plus games. And that you could be very well right. And maybe that's what I mean. Maybe we're never going to see this style again where, there's 30 3-pointer shot in the first half. Right. It's just like it's
a gun show.
Right. It is. And it's fantastic entertainment. I'm telling you, man, I watched and I'm so excited.
No, let me stop you for 1 second. I just got on ESPN I just got an alert. Steph Curry amazes with a circus axe shot. That was the comment from ESPN. It just blew up. Somebody
wrote on our
what? Eric Snow.
That's awesome.
Eric Snow. Going back, you guys remember Kevin Grevy and Brian Winters and Doug Collins, but no one is like, I don't even know who Kevin Grevy and Brian Winters are. No,
they could be porn stars as far as I know. I have no idea.
Brian Winters sounds like a
I know who Doug Collins is. I know who Doug Collins is.
Doug Moe. What about Ray Allen?
Well, that's
I mentioned.
Oh, did you? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. Mm-hmm. Okay, I just wanted to make sure. Ray Allen has to be in that conversation.
Trevor says, "Who runs your account?" Sheesh, I'm waiting to name Jason Capono. Mike Bell says, "Best shooters equals Steph, Ray, and Jeff
Rulin."
He was phenomenal. Tony, you got to find a shot of Jeff Rulin when he was for the Bullets. Him and his hairy legs, his shorts jacked up. Oh my God, hilarious picture.
Yeah, we'll open that. We'll open with that next week.
Oh my God.
Al says Curry has changed the NBA, college, high school, and city streets. Just ridiculous. It's a good point. Just like AI brought the culture and changed the culture of the NBA, Steph Curry has changed it in the sense that I brought this up. Dave, you know this. Mike, you know just from watching little kids, on TV. It's like everybody has to shoot a three. And I said that as a coach. I was like, coaching Pee Wee basketball, all of a sudden there is no right. Dave, everybody grab. What's the first thing to do? Shoot the three. Yeah. Everybody wants to shoot, just like
I missed it. I missed the grind it out in the paint type of game, and just the
Rick Warren style.
These kids can't shoot layups, but they're behind the 3-ball line, chucking them up, dude.
Well, Ben can't make a layup either, or a 3-pointer, but that's for another show. Sorry, had to get right in there.
And that's the only thing we're going to say about Ben Simmons.
Yeah.
He's averaging 15 points a game, isn't he?
Yeah. What about Kobe? Trevor says.
What about that's a good
Kobe. The kids. I hear them determine like a slasher, a shooter, a scorer. Kobe to me obviously was a phenomenal shot. Right, he scored 60.
Right,
and in a game or two. I just look at him as a scorer, not a shooter. I know that sounds weird, right, Tony?
No.
I don't know.
No, you're right. You're right. I do the same thing. I always say, you see the jerseys behind me, right? It's Jordan, it's Kobe, it's AI. That's my list for guards. And Al, I know you're going to hit because there's no LeBron there. I'll give him number 4, but he's not in my top 3. It's just, they're at guards. They're that's who I want. They're my guys. I will say this. We got about 4 minutes left. I'm going to go back up to our trivia question because 2 people nailed it. Albert says Verlander was not Verlander. Adam says Steven Strasburg. It was not Steven Strasburg. Again, question.
I got one more before you give the answer.
Go ahead. Read the question again. As of the end of 2016 season, who was the last pitcher to pitch a perfect game? What do you got, Dave? What's your last guess?
Bumgarner.
No. Actually, Trevor and Andre got it with Felix Hernandez.
Oh, the cat.
Check that out. Hernandez playing for the Seattle Mariners pitched a rare perfect game against the Tampa Bay Rays on August 15, 2012. King Felix.
Yeah,
that's cool about those guys, man. Because I honestly, when I was reading, I was like, I'm like, I don't even know. You know what I mean? So let's end this on. We usually do the music segment with John, but John's not here. So I got a funny picture. We've got about 3 minutes left. We'll get everybody in. And I just want everybody to tell me when I show them this, what do you think's going on in this conversation? Okay. And this is 2 of our favorite people. So right here we got Doug laughing his ass. We got Howie with that little look. I don't know. What do you guys think? What's going on here? What's Doug laughing at? Let's have a little fun. We got about 3 minutes left. Is Howie telling him, "Hey, Doug, guess what? You're not going to see another game," and he's laughing. I can see Howie going, "Hey, Doug, Jalen's dressing tomorrow," and he's laughing. Or no, I got one. He's saying, "Yo, Doug, I call the shots." And you know what I mean? And Doug's just laughing. You like that, Dave? What do you think, buddy?
Yeah. I think it's, hey, Doug, you're going to be fired by the end of the year.
I don't know if he laughs at that, but maybe he says, "Hey, we're going to trade Carson Wentz."
Hey, I got one right now. He's looking at Doug. Says, "Yo, Doug, say whatever you want, but my Johnson's bigger than yours." That's right there.
Look how small Howie is compared to. God.
You're getting rid of Carson. I love him. Lori said you're next, bro.
Yeah. Yep.
Howie say I got a deal on Brady loves OnlyFans again. Howie, mine's bigger than yours, Doug. Exactly. He's talking about Johnson's, man.
Yeah.
Oh, man. And I'm making a decision of 48-man roster. Doug laughs, and no, Doug, I'm serious. Isn't that the truth? And we kind of could end on that because I can't believe that is serious. And boys, it's been a great episode. And next week, we're probably going to do this. And Carson Wentz will not be the quarterback of the Philadelphia Eagles. We'll be crazy. We'll be breaking it down next week. We will have Jeff Mosher, Inside the Birds, on the show. Jeff, good friend of mine, good friend of the show. We've been talking for a little while, getting it set up. So, he was going to come on tonight, couldn't make it, and he said he'll be on next week. So, it'll be nice to pick his brain a little bit because he is on the inside. He's not afraid to say he's a source. He's not afraid to say what he feels. And he's going to give you, his heartfelt comments about this situation. So be plenty of stuff to talk about. We did it, boys. We're under 115. As always, give us the Heat Ratio subscription. You're following us. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on Twitter. Follow us on Facebook. Follow us on YouTube. Subscribe. I said we're at 190. Anybody in these comments, if you have a YouTube page, go to Heat Ratio Sports and hit the subscribe button. Let's get to 200 by the end of the week. We got some giveaways coming up. Hopefully some new partnerships, things of that nature. But for myself, Tony Jigsaw Cotillo, my boy Mikey Googs, my man Coach Dave Dixon, shout out John Coker. We'll be back in a couple weeks. I say always, every single day, stay safe, stay healthy, and we will catch you next week.
Peace.